Good evening and welcome to Be More Super Live with myself, Bryan, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Daniel Fudge. I use your Sunday name there, Daniel.
I
How
enjoyed it.
how are you, Dan?
I am. I'm in a tumultuous position here, Bryan. You're going to get a lot more mooted Dan Fudge this evening. Reason being is that obviously I was hungover from the European Cup final on Sunday night, and then I woke up at 7:30, wasn't allowed to eat, and then went for surgery at what I thought was supposed to be at 1:30 in the afternoon. They didn't see me until 5 o'clock. I didn't get home until midnight. Because I couldn't get a doctor. You know, the way the NHS works in this country is great, but it's also a bloody nightmare. And now I've just got. So if you see me with this tissue, I've had some nasal surgery where they've gone in. It's called a turbinate, where they kind of scrape the inside of your nasal passage out to cut down on snoring and any nasal catarrh buildup and things like that. So my apologies if I sound a little bit bunged up. It's because I've been beaten up by a doctor. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? You're forgiven because anyone that goes through that, I mean, I don't know if I snore. My wife hasn't said anything. I'm sure if she's watching, she can always comment on the stream and we can put it on the screen. Does Bryan snore? I don't know. But for everyone watching, expecting James Richter from Free Willy, unfortunately, we got told literally half an hour ago that because of conflicts with his schedule, he's had to postpone now on getting him on the show at a later date, maybe next week or in the middle of August. So I do apologise for everyone watching, expecting to see the star of Free Willy and Never Ending Story 3 and all that jazz. He will be on the show eventually. You're ghosting there, Dan.
I don't know what's happening.
It's like watching, Harry Potter, but like a lower budget version. You're like going into the wall.
I feel like Slimer in 19.
Oh, and your internet is obviously the same as the quality right there, which is a pre-1980s. So I'm going to continue to talk until Dan comes back onto the stream. Oh, there he is. You're right, mate.
I think I'm getting there. I think something's happening. I'm going to persevere.
Do you know what? We're professionals. We can do this. We can just keep on talking until, the cows come home. So we've got a few films to look at this week that we've watched. One is coming out very, very soon. And I want to talk a bit of presidential chatter because it's quite interesting. A lot has happened in the news, and I think the entertainment news has been overshadowed by a few events. So let's talk about that first. So before we get on to the movies, of course, we're talking about Mr. Donald Trump, that earlier on in the week, something happened. So a massive disclaimer for anyone watching in the US, Canada, in the UK, wherever you're watching from, I am not political. Literally, I am not political at all. The way I'm looking at this is a human being. Me personally,
star of Home Alone 2.
Of course. So it's slightly entertainment. Yeah, it's slightly Hollywood, related. Even though, I'm not a massive fan of this man, personally. I wouldn't want anyone to be seen to be shot. It's just ridiculous. What is your take on what happened that you know of? Because there are so many conspiracies out there, so many opinions, and it's just crazy to see it from someone in the UK that hasn't got a direct sort of. We're not influenced directly from America and politics. What's your opinion?
It's difficult, isn't it? Right, because on one hand, is Donald Trump the type of person to elicit somebody to take a pop shot at him? Absolutely, 100%. Yes, he is. Is he the type of person to manipulate a staged potential shooting? Absolutely, yes, he is 100%. Which is why it's so insane. Like to us, it's nuts, right? Because we don't have a gun culture in this country. But if you just put yourself in the camp of someone did take a shot at him, the last second turn of his head for the trajectory for that bullet to graze his ear is very little margin of error. You know what I mean? And but the way he's speaking is he's constantly turning that way to,
Yeah.
like he's talking to somebody to make sure that he's turned that way. So is he turning his ear away from the camera so when he pops up with the blood on his ear like a WWF wrestler's razored it? You know what I mean? I honestly, as soon as I saw it, the first thing I thought of is the conspiracy theories on this are going to go insane.
Oh, they are
They're going to go
wild.
nuts.
And the thing I'm concerned about is that, say, if he had got shot, it would have
Right.
sparked the next American Civil War, because you've got, the Biden supporters, you've got the Trump supporters. There's no middle ground there, and the Trump supporters were ready, like literally, they were ready to start something. From what I can see on social media and interviews, what gets me though is that before he actually got shot, there were people in the audience shouting to the police, "What's that? What's that?" Pointing to the roof where this kid, it was only 20 years
Yeah.
old,
Yeah.
was, but nothing was done about it. And obviously the police, it was a slanted roof, so, the field of view was slightly off for a lot of people, a lot of the police. But it makes me think there's so many. And you know what's really bizarre? Do you know what's really bizarre? So on the day that he got shot, that's the day that I finished watching a show on Apple TV called Manhunt, which was all about the Abraham Lincoln assassination. So I was telling my wife about it. Then all of a sudden this happened. I'm like, whoa, that is spooky. But you know what? I'm glad he's okay. I feel sorry for the Secret Service though, because
Are they Secret Service though?
yeah, I think they are. Yeah, I think they've got
Look,
to be,
to me,
because he's a
it looked
former
like
president.
it looked like a 1920s Keystone Cop caper, them trying to get up there, because all of a sudden one of them stumbled up the stairs. They weren't there quick enough. The sniper on the roof was a little bit, what's that, Reggie? You know what I mean? It was a
Yeah.
little bit, oh, good Lord. And
But you
then
know
there's
what?
that lady in the picture.
I mean, the sniper though, give him his due. I've watched loads of videos from people that were Navy SEAL snipers and snipers in the army, and they said that the way he reacted in the amount of time he did was amazing. And
Because he knew he was there. It's all staged.
oh,
Come on.
we're gonna get comments, Dan. We're gonna get
Yeah, we are.
comments. We're
We're going to
get
get all
comments.
these Tenacious D fans kicking off now, aren't we?
Oh, and that's another thing. Tenacious D, they've stopped their tour because Kyle made a comment during one of the. I don't know. I mean, it is, people have got their opinions, and I think that people have got to be careful on how they air their opinions. Everyone's got a freedom of speech. It's a big thing in America. But I just think that, I don't know, we actually, I sound British, don't I? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you've got to watch your P's and Q's.
I tell you what it is for me. I tell you what it is for me, Brian. Right, comedy now is dead. It's dead. Comedy's died. Like, look at Ted Lasso. Won 7. What is it? Emmys. 7 Emmys.
Yeah.
It's not funny. There's no jokes in it. It's not funny. It's just nice. It's like Parks and Rec, The American Office. They're just nice. They don't have any laugh out loud funny moments. And even if they do, it's one of the biggest funny things over the last 20 years that happened in The Office is an overweight man fell over with a big pot of chili, and people find that hilarious. Comedy's died, right? And then like look at a cutting edge comedian like. Jimmy Carr, for example, did a show in the States, and it said, Jimmy Carr, censored and live, and you can't get away with this on television. And then it followed was a minute with some of the most tame comedy I've ever heard in my life. It's died because people are trying to protect their interests, and people don't want to get brought up in a furore. And Jack Black has already been accused of trying to protect his Kung Fu Panda money. That's why he's disassociated himself with Kyle's gag. Comedian says gag, get over it. Get over it. Have you ever thought that the MF might just be joking because he's a comedian?
Yeah. Thing is, though, I mean, on social media and on different digital platforms, there are people airing their opinions day in, day out, no matter how left or right of the conversation. So yeah, I mean, it's a comment. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to harm anyone. The only person it harms is the person that's offended. Well,
Yeah.
if that's the case, don't listen to that person. But hey, but let's move on. We could honestly, I could chat about this assassination attempt for hours because conspiracies galore. There really is.
Oh,
But
it's glorious. Where do you sit on it? Have you managed to make a call on it yet? Because the margin of error is so tight for him to survive it. But the turning around, the popping
thing
down
is,
behind the thing, it all seems a bit
the
too
one thing
good.
I'm uncomfortable with is I've seen loads of videos of Trump supporters that are getting so excited, and even someone in their words said they're getting a hard on for the fact that he nearly got shot because it's like they want to start a civil war. They want to
Oh yeah, and that's what
storm
that's
the
what happened with the
Capitol
Capitol
building again.
building. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they want to start something, and that scares me for all the innocent people that aren't like that. So this could, trigger something like a new world order in America. And I just think that they should bring back the hippies and Woodstock and just legalize everything and just all hug and love and all that jazz. But it's not going to happen. But let's talk about
America's
entertainment.
at breaking point.
I know it,
In
isn't
it.
it?
It's at breaking point. I mean, look at the choice that you've got there. You've got a man who will whip people up into a frenzy to the point where they're attacking the Capitol
Yeah,
building, right? And on the other hand, you've got a guy who is clearly not well. I mean, the fact that his children are letting him go through this is incredible to me.
yeah,
And something does need to change with the states. The capitalism model hasn't worked, and
yeah,
they need to do something else. They've now got people living under bridges because their child was sick. You know what I mean? I find it
yeah,
incredible,
yeah.
but
I mean,
I could go on about that all day.
even George Clooney has come out, who's a massive Biden fan, that has given millions to the Biden campaign, and has said that what we saw in the debate, when he got very confused and he just seemed like he wasn't there. That's what he's like day in, day out. And for me, when I see him come up to the stand, I just feel like someone's going to follow him, going, "Come on, George, come on! I've told you,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
this way."
Come on,
You know.
come on.
But we've got Julia on the show. Julia,
Pew
hello.
pew. She's
Thank
been on.
you for watching and joining us. Sadly, yep, we haven't got Jason from Free Willy, but we'll get him on. But we have got some guests coming up. So on the 31st of July, we've got Clive. Clive, I cannot wait to talk about. I want to talk to him about Nottingham, Tales of Robin Hood, starting out in Sherwood Forest. He lived in Nottingham for many, many years.
Did
So I
he?
want to, so I want to know where. One of his mates ran a bar in Nottingham. I want to know what bar. Is a massive
Let's hope it's a strip bar.
yeah, he's a massive Warhammer fan because obviously he plays Titus in the Warhammer game. I think it's Space
Brilliant.
Marines 2. And he used to go to the game workshop quite a lot, so we can shout at him geek because that's going too far. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he had friends. So we've got Clive on the show on the 31st. And then to celebrate the fact of Snowpiercer coming out, we've got Chelsea Harris from Snowpiercer, their fourth and final season. This is a season that we've been waiting for years. And it's finally here with AMC that's bought it. And we cannot wait. So we've got Chelsea Harris on the show live on the 7th of August, and more guests to come. I cannot wait. But let's talk about the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This is the film my wife will never watch. Do you know why?
Why?
It freaks her out. Talking monkeys freaks her out. Honestly, it freaks her out. I haven't been able to watch any of the Planet Ape movies at home at all.
Really?
So yeah, so I'll watch him in my car.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. That's genuinely just upset me. That.
But what is your opinion on this film? Because I've got a lot of love for this film, and I've got a lot of hate for it. Believe it or not.
I was the same actually, Brian. So this franchise has had a stuttered start, hasn't it?
Mm.
Like we had the one right at the start with Marky Mark in it, and then we had one with Tom Felton in it later on, which kind of got it started again because the Marky Mark one didn't land. But apparently they're all in the same universe or something, aren't they? Someone's come out and told us that they are law. and then we've followed Caesar, and we've followed the tumultuous relationship of him trying to get people to, apes and monkeys to live, apes and humans to live together, and all the rest of it. And then they just bin him off the first 5 minutes, and you're like, and then it goes many generations later, and you're like, what? So after all that build up, after all that, I've now just got to try and get to know a load of new characters, and I kind of didn't know where it was in the storyline. Like the stakes didn't seem high enough, and then the first half an hour is really slow paced. However, on the other hand, it is visually perfect.
Yeah.
Like it is you genuinely forget that this is a computer animation. Like it is stunning, and there's points where you're like, wow, like that's really heartbreaking, and essentially the guy has just stopped drawing the monkey. But I absolutely, I found it visually stunning. There's some great bits in it, but it's missed something from the last two for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was visually stunning as well. The fact that you get invested in these monkeys as people is unbelievable, because the way that they've done it, the motion capture, I mean, obviously Andy Serkis is involved, and there's some great actors that have taken on the roles of these animals. But you could see how much work has gone into it, the expressions, and I was invested.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought visually it was amazing with the eagles and everything like that. The story for me was a massive anticlimax. Massive.
Yeah.
I mean, are they doing this as a way to build up for the next movie? Are we looking at a trilogy? So this is the first bit, and then we're gonna have a middle bit, and it's gonna have an even bigger end, because they find a bunker. I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for people, but that is it. Nothing happens in it. They don't use anything in it. And you see
it's
all
got
these
prequel vibes
things.
on it.
Yeah, it's got all these wonderful things, but it doesn't get used. And I just don't know. I mean, visually amazing. It was a pleasure to watch it. A bit like Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop. It was entertaining to watch, but it wasn't like the originals. It was like they tried to take the same recipe from a cake 30 years ago and remade it, and not realize that those ingredients are 30 years out of date, because it had the same vibes, but for me it wasn't the same Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the same with this Planet of the Apes thing, right? What was the point? So, like, what we had Tom Felton, then we've had 2 movies since then, haven't we?
Yeah, Dawn.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, all of those 3 movies were just eradicated from existence in the first 5 minutes of this movie. Like, what was the point? What was the point of the last 3 films that have just come out? If we're just gonna, it felt like a prequel reboot, but they kind of wanted to tie it in. It just seemed a little bit flat. That like the stakes didn't seem high enough. I didn't really understand what the point of what was happening. Why, what's the guy's name that that the Blob plays at the fight at the end where he gets attacked with the birds? Kevin Durant, like he plays.
He's really good though. He's a really good actor.
He is really good, but I didn't really understand. He was the biggest name in it for me, as ignorant as that sounds. But his character didn't seem to have any real drive or ambition that made sense to me. It just seemed dead weird. I was like, why have we done this? It just,
and then you had
I don't know.
William H. Macy, who's a big actor.
What was the point in him? What genuinely? What was the point in that character?
Talk about Vanilla. He must have took that part and thought, this is the easiest money I've been paid to sit here, carry a few books, and then die. Sorry again if I ruined it for everyone.
Do a lot of juxtaposition, explain a few things, and then go, see you later.
Yeah, bye. See you, bye.
And then they built up the showdown between Noah and the big gorilla geezer, and that kind of whimpered out a little bit, didn't it?
Well, Noah just got body slammed a couple of times, and then he called on a hawk. Do you know what I mean? That was it. And that was it. That was it. He got body slammed, and then he didn't even really fight back.
No.
So, but I've got to say, this film came out, as you can see on that poster, on my birthday, so I've got to like it. Do you know what I mean? May the 10th. May the 10th. But yeah, we have got a comment here from a football team. I don't know if they're any good. I mean, I don't know. From the Wednesday week.
Oh,
So
is that my social medias attacking me again on the
I don't
interwebs?
know. So excited to watch big handsome chaps 4. Again, I don't know what that film is. Full well knowing it wasn't going to be the same. Probably because you've been watching Big Handsome Chaps 4 and not Beverly Hills Cop. It was meh. It was meh. Wait a second.
It was meh.
That has got to be a woman that's wrote that.
No, it's my mate Ash. It's my mate Ash. He's gone so excited to watch because he's our age, Brian. So he's in the vibe. You know,
meh. Only women say
understands.
meh. Do you?
No, we're internet people now, Brian. We say meh and we
okay.
say slay.
Slay.
I've never said that before in my life, but you know, picking up on words.
But we knew it wasn't going to be the same. But I loved it anyway, just because it had the original cast in it, even though they looked like they'd just come out of an old people's home.
They did look pretty awful.
And literally, I just thought to myself, they're dropping to bits. But it's just crazy how Eddie Murphy still looks not that far off, really. I know he looks aged a bit, but he looks good for his age. Because I was trying to work out how old he is compared to the other cast. I tell you what, though, this is going to be controversial. The actress that plays his daughter, terrible.
Is she?
Yeah, terrible. Honestly, I didn't like her. I did not like her. I didn't think she was she was a good actress.
Not like Netflix to shoe in an actress where one's not needed. Like that's
yeah, but she plays Eddie Murphy's daughter. She plays Axel Foley's daughter, and she just felt I didn't connect with her. It was just like
because at the risk of sounding like a silly old middle-aged white man on the internet, who gives a shit about Axel Foley's daughter? You know, we've had 3 movies where he's not even had a missus, and then all of a sudden we've gone, let's give him an entire backstory and a family. Like I ain't come here for Axel Foley's daughter. I've come here to watch Axel Foley do the laugh, get Rosewood and what's his face out. Let's crash a few police cars and do the laugh again. See you later. You know what I mean? I'm not here. It was the same with the oh God, what is it? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when they redid that. They'd already established that they had 2 sons, and then they changed them into daughters 20 odd years later. And then I don't give a shit about the daughters. I'm watching it for Bill and Ted. I'm not watching it for the spawn of. You know what I mean? Why keep shoehorning this in?
But that was the key bit of the film is his daughter. She's the center of it.
Couldn't give a shit.
You know, I was like disappointed on they could have found someone better, but obviously budget has all gone into Eddie Murphy. But apparently Eddie Murphy is reprising his role as Donkey in a spin-off film because Shrek 5 is being made. That's
Shrek
coming
5
out next year or 2026. And so Eddie's obviously going to be I love this. Even if they brought Serge out the freezer and tried to do the exact same joke from 30th. Do you know what, though? I like Serge. I like him. Something about
honestly,
him.
Brian, you're going to have to tell me this. You're going to have to explain this to me. Because Serge saying, Axwell, you do when they even brought him back the second time, and he's like the Q in it going, I just want to separate my keys, and then he does the big, loud, flashy bang. Like, put this character to bed. There is no reason that Axel Foley still keeps running into this character. It was a 30-second bit of comic relief that people seem to absolutely enjoy. He's like the Boba Fett of the Beverly Hills Cop world.
And the great thing is, in the film, they take the mick out of Beverly Hills Cop 3. So
Brilliant.
As Eddie Murphy sat down with this cop, he's going through his resume, like what he's been caught for in the past. And he says, in 84 or whatever. And then when it got to the point of Beverly Hills Cop 3, he said, that wasn't a good year for you. Even though I quite like number 3. But yeah, so going from an absolute awful, sort of film, let's go on to a great film. A film that I think is going to do amazing from Ridley Scott. We love this, first film, Gladiator, we're talking about Russell Crowe. and Oliver Reed. It was his last film. He actually died on Malta when they were filming it. And it's quite funny. They've named a bar after him, which I think is hilarious because he was a bit of a drinker and a womanizer. But Gladiator 2 follows his son. And let's have a look at the trailer. I haven't had time to sort it out with my buttons. So here we go.
So hang on, whose son?
Russell Crowe's son.
Didn't he get burnt alive?
No. Did he?
Yeah,
So
he
whose
didn't
son
get
is it?
burnt.
I got told it's Russell Crowe's son. You know, Maximus Aurelius or whatever.
Yeah, Maximus Aurelius, father to a murdered husband and father to a murdered son.
Well, do you know what?
and in this life he'll have his vengeance. Let's
have a
watch
look
it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, because Denzel Washington is giving me Oliver Reed's vibes on his character in the first.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects. She must feed them.
They can eat war.
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, the gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. That rage is your gift.
This is about survival! Survive! Hold together and when it charges, break for the wall.
Whose head could I give you that would satisfy this fury?
The entire Roman armies.
Too much?
The general will do.
Rome must fall. I need only give it a push.
We make it out alive. Alright. Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you. What is the dream of Rome? That people are not free.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength and honor! This is how Rome treats its heroes! Tears on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors. The gods have spoken!
I'm waiting.
Did it just ruin the ending for me there?
No, it's not going to ruin the ending. I mean, you know, this is a Ridley Scott film. The editor has obviously done an excellent trailer, which this is. Amazing. I mean, Denzel Washington, for a start, he's never done a bad film. So anything with Denzel in it, I've got utmost. Why? Go on then. Go on. What film?
No,
come
I'll
on.
tell you
I
what,
can see it. Yeah, go on.
I'll think of a couple. Bear with me on that one. Denzel does look great in it, right? But I just want you to. Do you remember when we were 19, 20 when this movie came out, Bryan?
Yeah.
When the first one came out, that trailer. Do you remember when there was a shot in a trailer where the sun hit the chrome on top of one of the, those half kind of shiny helmets? It was one of the most visually stunning things we'd ever seen in cinema at that point. You know what I mean? I wasn't that blown away visually since I saw Jurassic Park 7 years prior, right? That was half the charm of this movie. It was beautiful. It was absolutely stunning. And I feel like a lot of films now rely on the fact that we can do absolutely anything because of the CG things that are available now. I didn't think it looked terrible. I just don't think it's just going to have the same magic. And we've wheeled out Pedro Pascal again in something else. Like he's watchable, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but there has to be other actors. he's literally in everything. I felt like a lot of the support cast outside of Denzel was a little bit meh. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't know who Joaquin Phoenix is, or actually Russell Crowe, had it not been for Gladiator. So it might start the careers of many men if it's got the same magic. But as my colleague Ash there has pointed out, the son in the movie is Joaquin Phoenix's character, but for some reason has some kind of thing for Maximus, but in a positive light. I don't understand. I couldn't work that bit out. What could you be? Where were you with it?
So what? He's saying that the little... Okay, I'm really confused now. So the guy isn't Russell Crowe's son?
No, because he got burnt with his mum.
Are you sure he didn't get out back?
No, because the kid in the dress right at the start of the trailer who goes, "I was there that day." That was Joaquin Phoenix's son.
Was it?
Or was Joaquin Phoenix the uncle? I think it might have been the uncle now. I can't remember. We're going to have to Google it. I'll tell you what, I will talk for a bit while you search it up for me and find out who it's related to.
We've got to say hello to Hearts for Noah as well. There's watching. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, show the love. So this is where my fingers... I've realised that I'm losing the heat in my fingers. So... Gladiator 2 is
Who's the kid? Who's the son? Because I remember the kid, and I remember that he was sat there and he was invested in the training and he was invested in what they call in the movie the Spaniard. You know what I mean? And I remember all that. And they've introduced water into the Colosseum. Don't know how historically accurate that is. There just seemed to be a boat floating around in the middle of the Colosseum and people getting eaten by sharks or some nonsense. But, it might be good. But again, it's another vehicle where they've gone, let's just put Pedro Pascal in this and it's going to be automatically popular, which is absolutely not the case because we've all seen Wonder Woman 1984 and it is trash.
I know you think it's trash. I know. I quite like it, but hey ho. Yeah, so it's confirmed that Lucius, the main guy in it, is Maximus's son.
What?
Yeah. That's what
that makes
says.
No sense.
I know.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I'm angry about it.
So, so apparently, despite living a life of peace outside the Roman politics, he finds his way into the gladiatorial arena due to the actions of Pascal's character. Guess what? I'm going to see The Gladiators being filmed in Sheffield next week.
What?
I know. Sorry, it just rang.
Oh, The Gladiators.
Yeah,
right,
Gladiators.
I tell you what, if Ash is still watching, he's going to be devastated about that because I think he had dates to watch it and it got cancelled. So if you're still watching there, Bryan's going and you're not, mate. Unless they've rescheduled you, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the 4th of August. It's a Sunday. So
that's a long day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. But no, Gladiator 2, it looks amazing. For me, visually, I think it looks nice. Nothing's ever going to compare with the original. Because for us, again, nostalgia plays a massive part in how we enjoy our movies. Looking back at films that are classic films to us, we'll never get that feeling. Because back then, as you said, it was the most visually, exciting thing you've ever seen. So obviously that is your first time seeing something so visually exciting. So now, because they use CGI like it's going out of fashion, is it going to be? But the trailer, it looks good. It looks like they've done everything good. I mean, I love how they've got the arena full of water and they've got sharks in it. I don't care how they get the sharks in there, because I was thinking to myself, how the hell do they transport sharks in Roman times into an arena across deserts? I just don't get it. I don't want to know, because it just looks amazing to have sharks in there. And but no, it looks good. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch it. And then next thing we're going to talk about is Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah. Now, is there an element of you here, Bryan, that's a bit fed up of seeing all everything creep out about this movie? Like, I'm starting to resent it a little bit now. Like, give us the movie or don't. Stop drip feeding it in now. Come on.
But
you know what I mean? There's been too much.
Don't you think that the age we're in now, I think it ruins it for films? Because you look at James Gunn's Superman. That's being filmed at the moment in Cleveland. And the amount of pictures and footage that is being leaked online that is going to ruin cameos, what's going to happen in the film and everything like that. Back in the day, you had to get a VHS, watch a trailer at the beginning, and you got excited about it. And then you watched the movie not really knowing what was going to happen, and you experienced that magic. But now we're seeing, I think 80, 90% of it is thrusted out by the studio themselves as a marketing campaign. Deadpool's always had an amazing marketing strategy on how to get these films out, and they do an amazing job. But I think this one, I think they're going a bit too far. Everything's Deadpool and Wolverine. Everywhere that you look, you cannot get away from it. And it's not necessarily fans doing it. It's promotions that they've got, like their own water coming out. They've got their own limited edition aviation gin, which looks cool actually. And then you've got obviously the tours that they're doing, advertising the film. I don't know. I don't want to get to the stage where I sit down at the cinema and just think, oh, thank God that's over. Do you know what I mean?
I agree entirely. I'm exactly the same. Like, I felt like we had that teaser picture of Wolverine in the yellow suit. We finally got in the yellow suit, and now it's all I've bloody seen. And like, I'm like, oh God, have we got anything else? Can we? What's the story about? It's clearly going to be a multiverse nonsense, because there's a dog dressed as Deadpool at some point in it, and you're like, right, and then this is going to be a multiverse version of Wolverine, which is why they've managed to pull it off. I don't know. I'm kind of like, because I didn't think the second one was as funny as the first. It just didn't seem to have the same magic, but it was marketed to death. Like Cable was going to be brilliant and it was going to be the best thing we'd ever seen. It wasn't. It was some chubby Kiwi kid chucking flames around and then getting ripped in half.
That was the only thing that annoyed me about the film. I loved everything else except for the kid.
Yeah,
he was annoying.
Well, you know what? I've made no secret of the fact that I get really annoyed by the kid in movies. Like, you know, even if you think of what we've watched recently, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we've got the kid. They've tacked along. You know, anything where there's the kid. There's always a kid. I don't give a shit about the kid. Why have we got a kid? You know what I mean? There's always a bloody kid. Like Indiana Jones.
Want an adults only film. No kids in sight, just for the adults, please.
But it just for some reason that it seems to be a really easy writing device to give the character a moral compass and to make sure that he pulls in the right direction. And it's about the kid. Get rid of the bloody kid. The kid's annoying. Nobody in anything in the world has ever gone, hey, you know what would make this better? Kids.
Well, yeah, I suppose, unless it's like the Goonies or something like that. But yeah, I mean, the kid in the second one did my head in. But the latest sort of rumor and the thing that's going around the internet is a teaser of the woman Deadpool. And oh no, not that one. That's a comment.
We've had Noah.
Yeah, we've had Noah. Is of course Blake Lively. So there's been a picture that's been released of just the body of this costume, but not saying who's in it. So again, they're trying to create that buzz.
What am I looking at here now? Is this a fan mock-up of Blake
No,
Lively's head on?
So this is from Scream Rant, which is a great website. Go and check it out. They're the source of it, and it just says Blake Lively as Lady Deadpool is perfect. And this is from fan art that someone's put together. Obviously, they've taken the suit and put her head on it. So the rumors are it's either going to be her or Taylor Swift, because Blake and Ryan are really good friends with Taylor Swift, and Taylor tries to make cameos in most things, and why not? She's taken over the world of music. Why not movies now? So I think my money is on Blake because it just makes sense because of Ryan. What do you think? Do you think it's Blake? Do you think it's Taylor Swift? Or do you think it's Boris Johnson?
I thought it was going to be Lady Gaga. I don't know why. There was something about the color of that ponytail that made me go, "That's Lady Gaga color." That I reckon that's got. You know what I mean? You can imagine her doing it. She'd be great at it. And imagine pulling away from being Harley Quinn in the filming of the second Joker movie to come and put a cameo in this. I don't know why. I feel like.
Oh, do you mean Margot Robbie? Oh no, did she do a cameo? Oh no, she did, didn't she? In the bar. Was it?
Who?
We're talking about Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga in the new Joaquin Phoenix Joker 2 movie. She's going to be playing Harley Quinn, and they're filming that right now. And I like the idea of her pulling away just to chuck on a Deadpool outfit, and in that universe, she's Deadpool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I strongly doubt that, only because she's going then from DC to Marvel.
DC to Marvel, yeah, she's making the leap. But I kind of like the shithousing of it. But it was the color of the ponytail and the that made me think, that'd be good.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to be that exciting. I think that it's probably going to be Blake because it's very vanilla, and it's easy. I honestly think it's Blake. I think she's wonderful. I mean, they met on that wonderful Green Lantern movie that everyone doesn't like, and I actually quite like it.
Listen, that movie with the sharks that Blake Lively's in is one of the best films she's ever been. It's absolutely bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of sharks, we watched that shark movie, didn't we? We spoke about that. I've just realised. I was like, we watched shark. Oh, we spoke to the actress that was in it. We could have talked about that. We did for an hour.
yeah. But yeah, the film that she's in, it's amazing. But yeah, so who knows? I'm sure we'll find out later down the line. But they need to stop releasing these teasers.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Just give me the movie now. Give me the movie now. I'm not bothered.
Do you know what? I was talking to someone the other day that used to work at Blockbusters, and I did as well. And I missed the days when you sort of looked around and you saw couples and families coming out to choose a film, and they spent like an hour choosing one because it was such an investment. They had to make that right choice of that movie. And you knew that they were going to take that movie home, put it in, sit down, everyone, and enjoy a movie and appreciate it and love it and have the snacks. And then now it's like you've got 8 million films that you can choose from at a push of a button. And do you really? I mean, if you get bored, you just stop it and go to another one. I just think things have changed, and it's sad.
Bryan misses the old days.
I do miss the old days. But I tell you what, the great thing is, a friend of mine, Matt, that works for CBSC, which is a big comic book company that encapsulates them and everything, has returned my new comic book. So when I was in Chicago in April, I met a awesome artist called Jorge Jimenez.
Jorge Jimenez.
Yeah, and you could see the comic just there, and he draws Superman the best way possible. And I got that comic and I got him to sign it. I've only just got it back from America and it's on display now. And then I bought another one, which is Teen Titans, which is the first appearance of Deathstroke, which is an old comic as well. But yeah, I'm getting my back display sorted out. I don't know if you could see it, but I've got a Rosinante statue just there, and I've got my Superman crystal from the set of Superman the movie.
Is that what
original.
is that your original crystal there? Is that
Yeah.
because I noticed Superman's winning the space there, and then I just realised that the show was called Be More Super, so I assume it started out as a Superman fan piece, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Sadly, and yeah, Superman the movie there. But then obviously it turned into this, and now we speak to some awesome guests. So for everyone watching, thank you so much for bearing with us, listening to us, just yabber on about everything. We are back next week. We're going to have a really good show put together because this week, sadly, at short notice, we had Jason cancel, but we will try and get him on again. So next week it's me and my partner in crime, and then just to remind everyone, if you've just tuned in, 31st of July we've got Clive Standen from Vikings,
Nottingham's very own Clive
Yes.
Standen. Used to buy his paint from the shop I used to work at in Ollerton.
Do you know what? He will know the places. I want to know where he lived though, because it's quite weird. Because I'm like literally 5 minutes from Sherwood Forest, and I've got a feeling we might know people because
come on.
because when I was at college, I hung around with the official Robin Hood of Nottingham and the Little John of Nottingham, and I was involved with a lot of the medieval events that they had. You know, the Robin Hood patch and
so. You were involved in the absolute nerd fest that was. I am shooketh, Brian. I'm clutching my pearls thinking.
Nerd.
About
It wasn't LARPing. It wasn't LARPing. You didn't have pieces of foam. They used to hit each other with real swords, and you used to put the armor on, and they'll be like, "You'll be fine. You'll be fine." Then all of a sudden, you get hit with a giant axe on your head.
Brilliant.
Because back then, health and safety wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing.
Nerds just hitting each other. That's
which I'm sure Clive will be able to tell us more about. And then obviously we got Chelsea Harris on the show. She was in Maverick as well, the Tom Cruise movie. She's been in loads of stuff, but we're going to be chatting to her about Snowpiercer, which I cannot wait. That comes on, I think, the July the 21st. I think that says on that poster. It's around that time, but we're going to be interviewing her on the 7th of August, so we should have been able to watch a couple of episodes by then. But Dan, thank you so much for joining me once again, and I will speak to you next week. Everyone watching, thank you so much for supporting the channel and myself and Dan. If you haven't already, give us a like, share this channel, and if you've got any suggestions on guests that you'd like on for us to chat to, give us a shout, give us a message on our socials, and then we can see what we can do. But thank you so much. Any ending words, Dan, to the lovely people out there?
I'm going to go and use a nasal douche to get all the mucus out of my nose.
Oh, mate. Don't sneeze. Don't sneeze.
Honestly,
right.
I want to sneeze. I want to hock it all. I can't do anything. I'm just sat here just dabbing my nose. It's bloody awful.
Bless you.
Awful.
Oh, bless you. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Good night. Look after yourself and keep super.